Hello everyone, welcome back to the lab, and also welcome to another new episode of Road to World 2024, where I will be documenting my journey, my grind of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, and eventually, or hopefully, make to the World Championship of 2024. That being said, let's start today's episode. In the previous episode, as you may already seen, I built a Genken horse version of Snake Guy. Try to abuse triple tag talent as a card to create auto wing kind of hands as a Snake Guy deck, which was one of the idea prior to the UUDS I attended a few weekends ago. However, there's more. There's other different versions of decks or other different version of Snake Eye decks I built when I was like playtesting or theory crafting. You may already see on the thumbnail here, there is an impulse. However, today is still about a Snake Eye deck. It's not really about a rescue ace, or it could be. So let me jump into the list. As you see on the screen, this is still a Snake Eye deck. This is not a Rescue Ace deck, but there is a Rescue Ace engine in it, or even in the side. What was the reason of building things like this? You may have seen in like previous episodes, maybe episodes like 3 or 4, where I was testing like a small race engine in Fire King. Prior to this, like doing a golf format. However, that list or that kind of idea ended as being not as consistent because instead of running a whole big of Rescues deck, it's not really justified to running even the Rescues bricks. However, this one, there's the merit of it. The idea is to run the idea is Impulse, is a hand trap, that can help me see other hand traps. And then, or even sometimes discarding the Diabell with Fire Attacker, creating like a turn 0 play. So technically this is like another copy of hand trap in this deck. However, because Hydrant is a level 1 fire, it's relatively accessible through variety different kind of Snake Eye or Diabell cards. So running a Hydrant with Preventer just to increase the amount of link material, link ratings, is also something good. So at the end, this is like a 6-card small Rescue Ace engine in the main. And as many of you guys have already tested Snake Eye now, Snake Eye decks naturally have like some kind of weakness to Dimension Shifter, which was one of like my big task of how do I deal with Shifter from decks like Flu, Cash. I mean, those two are the majority ones abusing Shifter, right? So how do I deal with those decks? At the end, I came up with this idea. I didn't have any problem against those decks during the last format, during AGOF time. Why? Because I was playing Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace cards naturally were good against Shifter. Technically, even during a short period of time, I was even running Shifter in the side deck of my Rescue Ace, which further proved that I can just abuse the Rescue Aces to combat Shifter. So that's why it kind of formed this list where I have a big Rescue Ace engine in my side deck to put it in whenever I go first, or especially whenever I think I'm playing against Shifter matchups. Last year, during about this time, or prior to like a little bit year, there was the tier 0 tier format, right? Where during that time, T-Element's representation wasn't as high as we expected. Why? Because there were a good amount of Shifter decks, either being Spry or being Flu, and later being Cash, just kind of combating for the whole pie chart. So we thought this, like at least me, prior to the UDS, prior to the beginning of this format, thought similar things might happen. There might still people just trying to not want to spend money or not even want to play Snake Eye version of decks, and was just choosing Shifter decks as an alternative plan. Which, at the end, surprised me. The snake eye, the snake eye percentage in the format turned out to be a lot higher than I expected, and the shifter percent was quite lower, definitely like lower than last year's portion. So that was like an inaccurate like prediction for me. But while I was preparing it, just in case the format went like similar as last year, where the shifter decks end was representing a lot higher than I expected, maybe this version, like a Rescue Ace version of Snake Eye, can provide some edge against shifter. That was the thought. So I guess we'll talk about a little bit more. Let's talk about some specific things. The Snake Eye portion of the deck maintain nearly the same. The Diabell or the Sinful spells maintain the same. The only thing different is I do not run Imperm because Impulse is kind of bad, or especially bad when Fire Attacker join to an Imperm. At that point, you almost have to pitch it or just that card not doing anything. So Imperm is another hand trap is being dropped because I'm running this. And just to increase the odds of me seeing Impulse or resolving Impulse, I did throw in some Phantaz. It also like helped me kind of fix my hands because some of the Rescue Ace monster are quote unquote bricks. So that was that. And then I think when I was actually testing prior to UDS, this list wasn't exactly looking like this. It was like still a mix of, like I thought to technically build several versions. I built it like one version with like a mix of hand trap and board breakers. I built a version of this with board breakers. Tried to just kind of use Impulse to draw into the board breakers along with the Phantaz. And there's now this version where now being proved to be slightly better among all these three. It's just heavier on hand traps. Technically, this list has a very high hand trap count because there's like what 3, 5, 8, 11, 14, 18. Because Phantaz and Impulse are quote unquote also hand traps, so there's technically 18 hand traps out of the entire 42 card deck I have. And because Impulse and Phantaz draw into the other hand traps, technically this is one of the lists that has the highest chance seeing specific hand trap like Nibiru going second against the opponent. Because obviously like an Ash just triggers Impulse, right? And you just get a free to draw 2 here. So that's pretty much the idea. And also like Fire Attacker wants to resolve. I can pitch Diabell and Diabell start playing turn 0, setting like whatever wanted or original I needed in this situation. The other merit of this list is the extra deck is relatively empty. I don't play Jet. I don't like to play Jet more because there are these cards already existing in the deck. I don't want to throw in another like quote unquote almost brick. Not a combo starter as like Jet Synchron. And because now running Jet Synchron, there's like a lot more spaces in the extra deck. More than I expected. Technically, I can even run Anima that I did not put in. I mean, there's the Agave I threw into extra deck because side deck with a whole big Rescue Ace engine taking way too many spaces. So fitting the Agave into extra is fine. I even have spaces to put in Axes because without like things like Parallel Exceeds or Horrors, there's no need to run like Banshee or Zombie Vampire, and then there's not like a big need for the second SP either. So in this situation, one SP is probably doing the job just right. So there are plenty of extra deck spaces that I like this version the best because none of the Rescue Ace cards really need extra deck. At least the ones you do need are the ones you already play, like SP or Princess. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea. Siding wise, going first, I mean obviously I'm just siding into this entire Rescue Ace engine and side out like a majority of my hand traps. Depends on the matchup. Against like specifically shifter decks, whenever they shifter you, they probably do it in the draw phase to play around like triple attack, right? So you know the shifter is being used at the beginning of the turn. All you need to do is like either bonfire or ash into just normal summon, search a hydrant, then maybe emergency it out, get Turb. Turb set 4 against any shifter decks is nearly auto win here. Or at least it can definitely buy you a whole turn after shifter is gone. And after shifter is gone, you may still have some of the rescue cards left. And next turn you get to play your regular Snake Eye cards. And that's pretty much guaranteed winning. Technically, some of the race spell trap are also just decent in the format. Like rescue specifically, when you have Hydrant, you get to revive their graveyard. And in this kind of meta, so heavily Snake Eye centric, this is essentially just summoning anything you need from the deck that you're missing. So yeah, that's the idea. After sighting, there's still like 9 copy of Rescue Ace monsters, along with technically Bonfire and then other all your Snake Eye starters. So I don't see Emergency really be breaking ever. Emergency is also just like a pretty broken card to play against negations like Hand Trap or like Veiler, Imperm, so on and so far. And one Turb is okay now because the existence of Princess. All you need to do is like some IP summon Turb. If they do Veiler on the summon of Turb, just make Princess, bring it back. If you have played Rescue Ace post Phantom Nightmare, you know what I'm talking. There's some Rescue Ace. This is what Rescue Ace is doing now. And there's also pros and cons, right? The pros is you are playing the necessary part of Rescue Ace that helps Snake Eyes in the main deck, and you're not playing the Rescue Ace bricks because you'll only put these in whenever in the situation you think you need these. However, there's still the cons. Like as long as you will be in situation you're putting the Rescue Ace bricks, you will be in situation that you might draw them, and whenever you do draw these, it's horrible. But that's just the trade-off at this point. The other con is because I'm just siding a whole engine in my side, there's not really any spaces for variety in a side deck. So in some matchup, I may not have the right tool against the best tool against some specific decks, to the point I have to combat with my engines differently into it, which sometimes it can be hard, sometimes really depends. It's just hard to say. The ultimate sell point for this deck is just it's a very good anti-shifter version of Snake Eye. However, shifter decks now isn't as popular, to the point I would say honestly they're almost in the zone where being not popular. So maybe the merit isn't really worth the risk at this point, now looking at this list, but it's still a cool idea to try. I see a lot more like Rescue Ace stack with a small Snake Eye portion, which I think these are just like incredibly inefficient to run these. You already have Bonfires, you already have the most expensive Snake Eye engine card, and you decide to play Rescue Ace, and I feel like almost a little bit wasting. Snake Eye as an engine now is definitely, in my opinion, a better engine than Rescue Ace. So whenever I do have those together, I think Snake Eyes will always be the main engine, and Rescue Ace can actually be a sub-engine to support it. So that being said, this is the whole idea of this list. There isn't really any specific combos, because you really kind of just draw whatever. You just play whatever you draw, and you set up the board based on if there's a shifter or not, or other things. The rest of them, more than half of the time, at least in the main deck, you're just playing regular Snake Eyes, like a pure Snake Eyes with some special hand traps. And occasionally you can turbo out a Hydrant for 3-link bodies that no other level 1 fire target you can do. But that's pretty much it. There's ultimately more so still just a pure Snake Eye deck. And if I didn't bring it to any of the event because I, I kept drawing it contained extinguish and that just made me rage. But I think there's still like a solid idea worth testing, worth sharing to the public. So if you're interested, feel free to give it a try, especially for those who are already playing Rescue Ace. Like Rescue Ace with like a popular bonfire. Maybe give this a try, because you probably have all the cards. And see how you feel the difference afterwards. That being said, hope you like lists like this. This is the other Abomination I created prior to the UDS that I'm sharing now after all the events. And let me know in the comment section down below any idea, any testing you may have with this list. And let me know. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel, share this to your friends, your testing partners, your teammates. Let me know. So that being said, I hope you like this, and I'll see everyone in the next episode. Goodbye.